Attention passionate Buffalo, BILLSFANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Buffalo Bills' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Buffalo Bills fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Buffalo BILLSFANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. What we're about to discuss today is nothing short of a game-changing move, one that could redefine the trajectory of the Buffalo Bills this season and beyond. It's been a season filled with ups and downs, but this potential trade rumor is stirring the pot and has everyone in Bills Mafia talking. The buzz is centered around a possible blockbuster involving Chris Olave, the talented wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints, and the Bills. And if this trade actually happens before the NFL trade deadline, which, remember, is coming up on November 4th, it could set off a chain reaction in the AFC East, in the conference, and perhaps even in the hunt for that elusive Super Bowl title. So let's break down what's happening here and why it's such a big deal. According to some reputable sources like Diana Rossini, the Saints, who are currently sitting at 2-5 and struggling offensively, ranking 26th in the league with just 17. 8 points per game are open to trading Chris Olave. Now Olave, for those who haven't followed him closely, was the 11th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. He's a speedster, a deep threat, and an explosive playmaker. In just his second year, Olave has already established himself as a top-tier receiver, accumulating over 800 yards and 30 touchdowns in his career so far. And this season, despite some injuries, he's been phenomenal, with 58 receptions for 812 yards and 6 touchdowns through just 7 games. That's averaging over 116 yards per game in a passing attack that's been somewhat inconsistent, especially with Derek Carr sidelined by injuries for several games and struggling at times with turnovers and offensive line issues. Now, the Saints, with a cap space of around $14 million, are clearly in a rebuild mode. They are prioritizing economic flexibility to address issues on the offensive line, which has been leaking sacks at a rate of roughly 3-1 per game, and to maintain some cap room for future moves, including extending players like Michael Thomas Jr., and trying to rebuild their defense, which is currently leaking points and yards at an alarming rate. The Saints' defense, ranking 28th in EPA per pass allowed, has been a sieve, giving up over 236 yards per game through the air. It's a team that's clearly looking to reset, rebuild, and maybe take a step back in the short term to prepare for a brighter future. But that doesn't mean they won't consider trading Olave, especially if the right offer comes along. And here's where the Bills come into the picture. Buffalo, sitting at 5-2 and leading the AFC East, have been playing some solid football this year. Their offense, especially through the air, has been respectable, ranking 13th with around 248 passing yards per game post Josh Palmer's injury. Palmer, who's been a reliable target, is out for Week 8, and that leaves the Bills seeking a vertical threat to complement Stefon Diggs and Shakir. The addition of Olave could be exactly what the doctor ordered. His ability to stretch defenses, create mismatches with his elite speed, and turn short completions into explosive plays could elevate Buffalo's passing game to an entirely new level. And when we talk about that, we're not just talking about marginal improvements. Olave has the potential to increase the Bills' EPA per pass by around 16%, especially on deep targets, where he's ranked 3rd in the league this season with a 28% success rate on targets 20 yards or more. Imagine a Bills offense where Josh Allen, who's already thrown for over 200 yards and 15 touchdowns this season, now has a true vertical threat like Olave to throw to. This could open up the offense significantly, creating more space underneath for Shakir, who's been emerging as a reliable option with 582 yards and 4 touchdowns, and easing some pressure off Allen. Olave's speed and ability to create yards after the catch, he's already amassed 362 yards after the catch this season, could make him a real X-factor in the playoffs, especially against defenses that are tired or less disciplined. Think about the mismatch potential. Olave, with his blazing 40-yard dash, can outrun most defenders, and his ability to find soft spots in coverage could help the Bills extend drives, control the clock, and keep their defense fresh. Now, what about the impact on the Bills' overall odds and playoff chances? Well, according to some predictive models like stats models, acquiring Olave could boost the Bills' win probability in the postseason by around 12%. That's a significant increase. It could push their Super Bowl odds from +5-0 to around +2-0, making them serious contenders in the AFC. This move would also send a clear message to the rest of the league that Buffalo is all in, that they're willing to make bold moves to go for a championship. And of course, with the defense facing some challenges, Jones being out with a calf injury and Carter on injured reserve, coupled with the defense allowing 3-4 sacks per game, the offensive boost from Olave could be exactly what they need to compensate and turn the tide in close games. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. The Saints are unlikely to part with Olave without a premium, and the Bills would need to give up their first-round pick in 2026, which they're reportedly willing to consider, along with some other assets. But the potential rewards far outweigh the risks. The Bills could turn their offense into one of the most explosive units in the league, especially in the playoffs, where vertical threats become even more critical. Think about the possibilities, folks. Olave paired with Diggs, with Shakir providing speed underneath, and Allen's arm. It's a recipe for an attack that defenses simply can't stop. It's a move that could define this season and possibly kickstart a new era of dominance for Buffalo. And let's not forget the division implications. The Dolphins, with their high-powered offense led by Tyreek Hill, are already pushing defenses to their limits. Adding a player like Olave to the Bills' arsenal could tilt the balance of power in the AFC East even further in Buffalo's favor. The Bills would not only be more dangerous offensively, but also more unpredictable, forcing opponents to defend the entire field and opening the door for more big plays and turnovers. This kind of upgrade, combined with the natural growth of their young players and the leadership of Diggs and Allen, could push the Bills to become one of the most feared teams in the postseason. So, what's the final take here? Well, if this trade goes through, it could be one of the most impactful moves of the season, elevating the Bills from a solid playoff team to a true Super Bowl contender with a real shot at bringing home the Lombardi. It's about adding a piece that completes the puzzle, a player who can spark that explosive, vertical-style offense that's needed to beat the best. It's a bold move, yes, but in today's NFL, sometimes you have to take those risks to reach the summit. The potential is enormous, and Bills fans should be excited because this could be the start of something unforgettable. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Buffalo Bills news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Buffalo Bills fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe a trade for Chris Olave makes sense? Do you think it's the right move to push the Bills over the edge and contend for that Super Bowl? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Bills because this team is built on our passion and our voices. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Buffalo Bills news, because this season is shaping up to be one of the most exciting in recent memory, and we're right here with you every step of the way.